we will take a look at creating walk cycles in Anime Studio Pro. It's actually very easy to do, but only if you know some of the tricks to getting it done well to take out all the frustration that's involved. So we're not confused with rigging and all sorts of things and having a character. I've put together a real elemental type of bone structure so we can concentrate on what's going on with the bones and not be distracted by a character. Now, there's one little thing I'm going to do that is very different than the way I would normally construct a walk cycle. With version 10 of Anime Studio Pro on the Mac side, there is a bug in the program that does not allow copying and pasting of keyframes in the Actions palette. And that's where we're going to ultimately put our walk cycle so we can call it from anywhere in the animation and use it. What I'm going to do instead is build it with the exact same techniques inside the main timeline, but I'm going to copy all of the keyframes and paste it into a custom action. The reason for this is that to get a smooth walk cycle at certain points in time, the positions of the body parts of the skeleton have to be exactly the way they were earlier in the series, or your eye will notice a little hiccup, a jump in the program, and we don't want that. So the techniques I'll use inside the main timeline, you can do and work with exactly inside the Actions portion of the timeline, and if you've got a PC, not a problem, you'll be able to do that right away. I'm at time frame 0. And what I want to do is go ahead and advance one frame to frame 1 so I can start recording certain elements in here. Now, something to be very aware of is that you are creating a walk cycle in a point in time, and in this case, I'm going to create a walk cycle that begins from a standing position and then migrates to a walking cycle. We will use the cycling action tool to go ahead and instead of have it return all the way back to frame 1 like we normally do, what will happen is the character will move the body from still to movement, but then it's going to cycle back to a full walk so that it looks normal and everything is the way it should. Let's get going. I will want to use the bone manipulation tool right here, the transform bone tool, because it's kind of a multi-purpose tool. In my rig right here, I have color-coded with a label, selected the bones, and then chosen inside the bone tool to color certain bones. Now, everything on the character's right side is blue. Everything on the character's left side is yellow. This makes it easy when these things start crossing each other to identify exactly what goes where. I also have created target bones for the feet to make life much easier. And for the shin bones right here, I've actually put constraints on them already so they don't overextend or hyperextend at the knee. And down here on the toe, I have an independent angle here to make our life a little bit easier while we work. With that review of everything that's going on the skeleton, let's go ahead and get started with our walk cycle. The first thing I'll do is come to our transform tool for the bone and simply click on the hip bone. Now this is just keyframing where it is so I can keep it in place, copy it if I want to. I want a full walk to take 1 second, kind of a 1/1000. So, and that's half a stride. When the other stride comes back, I want that to be another second. So an entire walk cycle is going to be about 2 seconds long. I want, because that first stride is going to be 1 second long, I want the character to go from a standing position into a walking position in approximately a half second. So I'm going to do base movements first. At 12 seconds, the only thing I'm going to do is to grab the hip bone and pull it down a little bit. This would be when both legs are fully extended downwards. At 24, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up just a little bit higher. Now I want to repeat this process here where I've got this first all the way down and then all the way up, and I want to go ahead and repeat that to an all the way down. I'll have to do this twice to make sure I get the rear and forward legs moving back and forth. So I'm simply going to go ahead and highlight these two. Come up and choose copy. You can also use the keyboard shortcuts for this. Move to frame 36. And paste. What this has done now is that I get a nice little up and down motion going. So you start from the most coarse movements first and then move to the fine movements. With this done, we're going to do some of the other incidental bone movements that are different from the leg movements. So as the character moves up, the neck right here is actually going to tilt forward just a little bit. He gets to the top, and as he moves down, the neck actually rotates a little bit backwards. Don't want to stretch that, pull it back there. I can go ahead and copy this keyframe, move to frame 42, and paste that. So now we get this nice kind of head bobbing motion going on while the character is walking, and that's perfect. Next, we'll go ahead and work on the initial leg movement. So going from a standing position to a walking position, and we're not going to actually move the character or the skeleton across the stage. We're going to do all this in one spot. So the first thing I want to do is to go ahead and get our character kind of in that full stride position right here, like the pelvis had actually moved forward, but the pelvis isn't going to move since we're doing it in place. So I'll grab our target bone right at the base since we've got the transform tool selected, and go ahead and pull this back to about right here, where the leg is almost straight. And you can see the independent angles working on the toe right here to keep it against the ground. Then, for the character's left leg, I'm going to go ahead and extend this forward, lock the knee out, keep the toe bent, and we can come back and animate that later if we want to, but I'm going to leave it just where it is right now. The next thing is going to be to go ahead and grab the arms and rotate these, and we'll continue this in our next movie.